The community of Salve Regina University extends to all gathered here a warm welcome. Please remain standing and join us in the singing of the national anthem, which will be led by Dr. Donald St. Jean, Associate Professor of Music.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ms. Amy Cady, campus minister, will offer the invocation. Please remain standing until after the singing of the university hymn, Salve Regina, Hail Holy Queen. The words to the hymn are found on the inside back cover of the commencement program. We will once again be led by Professor St. Jean.
Loving God, source of all our striving, we gather today to give thanks for and to celebrate all that you have done in the lives of this Salve Regina University graduate class of 2018. We give thanks today for wakefulness in late night study sessions over kitchen tables. We give thanks today for dedication that made the most of moments in the car between work and class. We give thanks today for determination to juggle school and life and to excel at both. We give thanks most of all for your presence in family, friends, professors, peers, and the Salve community for supporting these students through their studies. We also celebrate what has been achieved here, the mastering of knowledge, philosophy, and practice. We celebrate the transformation that the efforts of this class will bring to the world. Catherine Macaulay wrote, "The simplest and most practical lesson I know is to resolve to be good today, but better tomorrow." We celebrate that better tomorrow for these graduates and for the world that they will help to create. Amen.
Please be seated.
Hail, Holy Queen enthroned above, O Maria. Hail, Mother of mercy and of love, O Maria. Triumphal ye cherubim, sing with us, ye seraphim. Heaven and earth resound the hymn. Salve, salve, salve Regina. Our life, our sweetness here below, O Maria. Our hope in sorrow and in woe, O Maria. Triumph for ye cherubim, sing with us, ye seraphim. Heaven and earth resound the hymn. Salve, salve, salve Regina.
Sister Jane Garrity, President of Salve Regina University. Dr. Janet Robinson, Chair of the Board of Trustees. Members of the Board of Trustees, administrators, faculty, alumni, and especially today, our degree candidates, their relatives, friends, and distinguished guests, we welcome you to our graduate commencement exercises. Today, we honor the university's commitment to lifelong learning by celebrating the achievements and the perseverance of our graduate students, often while pursuing careers and raising families as well. The keynote address today will be delivered by a member of the class of 2018, Juliana Santinato. She came to the United States from Argentina in 2013, just a few short years ago, to pursue her education. Ms. Santinato received her bachelor's degree in engineering from URI and subsequently continued her studies here at Salve, enrolling in the master's program in the Administration of Justice and Homeland Security with a concentration in cybersecurity. She is currently a software engineer at Raytheon and works on a Navy destroyer, designing and delivering and testing technology that improves our nation's military capabilities. Her call to service is evident in her work with our nation's troops. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Juliana Santinato to share her thoughts on this important day.
Good afternoon, President Garrity, distinguished guests, faculty, family, friends, and of course the graduating class of 2018. Firstly, I'd like to apologize in advance for any hand movement. I'm 50% Italian, so sometimes I can't help myself, but I will try to keep them here. Secondly, I'd like to thank Dean Smith and the committee for the incredible honor it is to be the keynote speaker. But rather than a speech, I'd like to give a testimony, because a testimony is something that you share from your heart, and that's what I'd like to do today. Last year, while attending a conference, I learned of Joseph Campbell's work, The Hero's Journey. In his work, Campbell describes the life cycle of a hero. He says a hero is someone who is always born into an ordinary life, a life that they don't fit into. But one day they get a call to adventure. Someone enters that ordinary life and tells them, hey, you need to face something. You're called to something greater. This is not what you were made for. At first, they refuse the call. They reject it. And that's what most of us do. We think, well, that sounds like a lot of responsibility. I don't want to be Superman, so I'm just going to button up my shirt, put on my tie and my glasses, and just be Clark Kent instead. We put on our secret identity to fit into our ordinary lives. We think that way nobody will expect anything from us. But a hero at some point decides to accept their true identity, accept that call to adventure, and go on a journey. And that someone who entered their life may become a mentor along the way. It may be someone who already knows the road, someone who has already been on a journey and is now going to show you the path. Or it may simply be someone who will be at your side to guide you, to encourage you when you face obstacles and feel like giving up, to tell you they believe in you and they believe in your journey. My ordinary life started in a small city in northern Argentina, Tucumán. At a very young age, I developed a love for traveling. I loved seeing different places, different realities, different cultures. But there was one thing I loved the most, and that was escaping Tucumán, even if for a short time. I remember every time I left the city, I would rest my head on the car window and watch the poverty that surrounded the city. I would watch the houses made out of tin flying past my eyes. In Argentina, we call these areas villas miseria, which translates to misery village. When I returned, I would hope that it had all disappeared somehow, but it never did. And I found myself wishing that I didn't have to go back. I prayed that God had a life greater than that plan for me. Yesterday, I looked up the word misery because I wasn't sure if in English it carried all the meaning that the word carried in Spanish. And I found that in English, it is defined as a feeling of great distress or discomfort of body or mind. And I think that sometimes you have to feel discomfort to be truly motivated to change your reality, to be truly motivated to change your life. So that's where my call to adventure came. I decided I would move to the US to finish engineering school and build a life bigger than where I came from. And there were many obstacles, but there were many mentors as well, or as I like to call them, angels. God always put someone on my path who reminded me they believed in me, that they were proud of me when I was ready to give up on my journey. They helped me overcome a mountain of an obstacle and make it look like just a speed bump. He even placed someone on my path who had already been through that road, and little did I know she would become my best friend. I have learned that everything that was put before me gave me everything I needed to accept my call, to go on my journey. Every obstacle, all of my experiences, where I grew up, the conditions in which I grew up, all that makes me who I am, is what brought me here. And you are also here for a reason. And you have made it through it all to the finish line, because nothing is impossible with faith in yourself, and faith that there is a greater plan for you, that you were created for greatness. Pope Benedict XVI said, "This world will offer you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness, but not greatness in the world's eyes. Fame, affirmation, money. Don't chase what you think is great in the world. Your journey should take you after something greater and lasting." I have found my call in serving those whose lives are a true example of service, our military. My job has allowed me to support our deployed troops by designing and delivering technology that keeps our soldiers safe. And there has not been one day on which my job felt empty. In A Hero's Journey, Joseph Campbell says that a hero always makes their way back to their ordinary life. And at that moment, they share what they have learned with others. So here's what I have learned. Don't live for yourself, live for something greater. Don't work just for yourself, don't work for success, work for something greater. Work for significance. Otherwise, you will feel emptiness in the work that you do every day. You must find a way to serve. We live in a world where everyone wants to be famous, everyone wants to be known, everyone works for success. But fame and success will fade in time. Service and the significance you bring to your service is what is lasting and what will be remembered. So don't shy away from using your superpowers, using your gifts, the gifts that you have been given and the gifts that you have developed during your time at Salve, and use them to give back to the world. Many of us were born into ordinary lives. We can't choose the life that we're born into. But you do get to choose who you want to be, and who you are is determined by how you serve. As Salve Regina graduate men and women, it is important that we choose to be the men and women that positively impact the intellectual, spiritual, and cultural lives of the communities that we're going back to, remaining true to our university's founding mission. So live an epic life. Don't just be the Clark Kents of the world. Live a life bigger than yourself. Accept your true identity. Accept your past, but live a life bigger than your past. And I promise you, you will be a hero. Congratulations, class of 2018.
Thank you, Juliana. Our president, Sister Jane Garrity, will now address the Salve Regina University class of 2018.
Thank you, Dr. Arnold, and thank you, Juliana. The one thing I would say to you is you have lived no ordinary life, and I suspect that you are already on the road to becoming the kind of hero that you described. As I was listening to you, I thought, what have I done with my life? And class of 2018, as I look out at you, it strikes me that one size does not fit all. Look at you. There's a lot of diversity here. We got young and old. We've got men and women. We've got every type of person imaginable. Each person, however, as different as you look, each person has taken a different journey in this class. But one thing I think that you absolutely have in common is that you didn't do it alone. I think you can agree with me there. There were wives and parents and grandparents and siblings and friends and you name it. There were people there supporting you. There were many unsung heroes in your lives. Those who believed in you and those who were willing to sacrifice time and treasure so that you could attain that degree. I look out at the audience, you know who you are. These are people, class of 2018, who kept their promise to you. So let's thank them now. And also the faculty, people I love dearly, who challenged you, nurtured you, and believed in you, sometimes when you didn't believe in yourself. They too kept their promise to you, so let's thank them now. Your family, friends, and faculty have kept their promise to you, which leads me actually to the theme of my remarks to you today. I'll begin on kind of a strange note. I was thinking about a eulogy that I heard, and it was a son whose father had passed away, and he was talking about his father. And he quoted one of my favorite poems, Robert Frost, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. You probably know it. You know how it ends. These woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. The son, looking at his father's life, said to the congregation who was there, "My father kept all his promises, and now he can sleep." Commencement's also a time of looking back, and of course looking forward, but no sleeping for you. There hasn't been for a while, and there probably won't be either. But looking back, you certainly said that you have kept so many promises, promises made to yourselves and to your families and friends. You kept the promise to keep on trying until you got it right, especially those who wrote dissertations. I remember what that was like. It was a couple of years of constant guilt, thinking, I'm not doing it, I'm not working on it, I'm not doing it as much as I can, I'm not working on it every moment of the day. Constant guilt, but somehow the pages piled up. Somehow it got done. You kept the promise, all of you, to get the papers in on time and make sure that all the work was yours, a really important thing. In groups, you work together, and I think this is critical too. Group work is really good as long as everybody's doing his or her part. You did your part. You kept your promise to the rest of that group so that the group would shine and it wouldn't be just you. Outside of the classroom, you kept the promises you made to the friend. You had lives outside of classrooms. The friend to whom you said, I'll be there no matter what. The promise you made to the boyfriend or the girlfriend or spouse to be faithful. The promise many of you made to your children, the promise to read a story even when you had an exam the next day. You kept that promise. And then there was the promise you made to help people you didn't even know, the homeless in your communities, the refugees around the world. You believe, I think, with the poet Gwendolyn Brooks, who said, other people's children belong to you. You believe that, and you kept promises to them. You've kept so many promises, and you have many more to keep, and I hope many miles to go before you sleep. But you know, in many ways, the world that you're stepping into with these graduate degrees is more dangerous than the world you entered from. In my view, our culture has become more coarse. Violence has become more prevalent. The world is not, it seems to me, a better place than the one you entered from when you started your degree. So many people have lost faith at this time, I think, in the institutions they've always relied on government, the church, the internet. People feel that they can't count on these institutions to keep their promises, and yet you still have to keep yours. Promises to those you serve in work, promises to those you love in family, promises to friends and strangers, and promises to yourself. You know, many years ago, when I was a lecturer at the University of Michigan, I remember a simple but profound insight I had. This is going to seem so small to you, but I was an English lecturer, and I was helping a student with his writing. He was asking me questions, and he seemed to be hanging on every word that I said, as though figuring this thing out for him was the most important thing I had to do. I don't know why it hit me at that moment, but suddenly I realized that this man counted on me. He trusted me. And in that moment, I knew that this was more than just a job. It was a relationship. That I had made a promise to him, and that even if I was tired or bored or distracted, I meant to keep that promise. It was an important insight to me. It's one that it's a promise that I hope I can keep teaching. Imagine for a minute all the people in your work who will count on you to keep your promises. Juliana, I was thinking of the work that you do, and all that depends on you in terms of this task at this moment. It could have enormous consequences. You will be teachers and managers, law enforcement officers, researchers. People will put their lives, their money, their minds, and their hearts in your hands. No pressure, folks. They will count on you. And of course, your lovers, your friends, your children will count on you as well to keep your promises. There will be the big promises. Many of you have already made them, the I do's. In my case, it would be the perpetual vows. But my life is made also, I think, of so many little promises. And they count just as much. The promise to show up for those you love, to listen to them, to tell the truth, and then, of course, to be there in sickness and in health. And we who commit ourselves to work for a world that is harmonious, just, and merciful, as Salve's mission says, also make a promise to people we don't know at all. People in Syria and Somalia, Newport, Providence, and Boston, and all the towns from which you come. But you know, one of the most important promises, I think, is the promise that you make to yourself. The promise you make to be true to who you are. There's a scene in the play, A Man for All Seasons, and it became a movie as well. It's the story of St. Thomas More. And you may remember the story. It was Henry VIII who wanted him to sign an oath of allegiance to the king as he broke away from the church. And St. Thomas More said he couldn't do it. The scene is with his daughter, Meg, and Meg is urging him, come on, you can sign it. Just put your signature on this. You know, it'll save your life. Just do it. Her father answers her, Meg, when a man takes an oath, Meg, he's holding his own self in his own hands like water. And if he opens his fingers then, he needn't hope to find himself again. He goes on to say, some men aren't capable of this, but I'd be loath to think your father one of them. Thomas More's promise to himself is that he won't say or do what he doesn't believe, no matter the cost. And of course, in his case, the cost was his life. Another Irish poet, Gerald Manley Hopkins, echoes this theme of integrity when he connects vocation with our truest selves. He says, what I do is me, for that I came. But you know, for me, I pronounce this as something that I truly, truly believe in. What I do is me, for that I came. But I think there's a balance, a kind of creative tension between being true to what I believe and standing for it, while at the same time being open to the beliefs of others. A university education, a Salve education, I believe inspires us to do both. The promise that I make to myself daily is to be brave in proclaiming what I believe to be true and fighting for it, but at the same time to be open to the truths of others who are different from me. There are things about which I may be wrong, many times a day, to tell you the truth. But there are some big things that I realize I may be wrong about. And my promise to myself is that I will try to let the truth in, no matter how uncomfortable it may be, or how uncomfortable it makes me. And as my truth expands, I will keep my promise to proclaim and to act on it. So, class of 2018, off you go today, leaving what I would say is the relative comfort of school and what I really hope has been a caring community, to go into a world that is different, more dangerous than the world you left when you began your graduate studies. My hope is that all of you will have many miles to go before you sleep, and that you will keep the most important promises. But you know, the one thing I know, and this I deeply believe and will not be shaken from, is that a loving God will keep God's promise to you. The God I believe in is the one who can't take his eyes off of you, each single one of you, who actually takes delight in you, and who will love you no matter what. And so I say, go with God, vaya con Dios. Go with the God who loves you to serve the world and one another. This God, I know, is keeping God's promise, and he will help you to keep yours. And to that I say, amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Jane. Dr. Janet Robinson, Chair of the Board of Trustees of Salve Regina University, will now invite Sister Jane to confer degrees on the candidates.
President Garrity, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Salve Regina University, I invite you to confer this year's doctoral degrees and master's degrees.
Sister Jane will now confer the graduate degrees. All degree candidates, please rise. President Garrity, I am pleased to present the candidates who have qualified in all respects for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and the degree of Masters of Arts, Masters of Science, and Master of Business Administration.
By virtue of the authority invested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer on you the Doctor of Philosophy degree and the degrees of Master of Art, Master of Science, Master of Business Administration, as you qualify under their respective curricula and with all the honors, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
All graduates, except those receiving the Doctor of Philosophy degree, please be seated. Ms. Tiffany McClanahan, Director of Graduate Studies and Continuing Education, will present the degree candidates to the President.
Will the candidate marshals escort the graduates receiving the Doctor of Philosophy degree to the stage? Dr. Michael Budd, Professor of History and Graduate Program Director of the Humanities, will present the doctoral hoods to President Garrity, and will hood the candidates and award their diplomas. Ali Al-Abri, Security Challenges to Oman's Religious Tolerance and Balance in Foreign Policy, Analysis of Countering Violent Extremism. Albert Intasca, Singularitarianism in the New Millennium, Techno-Theology in the Transhumanist Age of Reenchantment, of Reenchantment. Ryan Matthew Marnane, Consider the Audiobook, or the Human Noetics of Close Listening Literary Sound Studies, Critical Theory, and the David Foster Wallace Literacy Journalism. Todd James Mealy, Marxist Materialistic Sociology of Knowledge, Colliding Empirical Frameworks of Consciousness. Beryl Powell, Networks of Survival in Kinshasa, Mumbai, Detroit, and Comparison Cities in Empirical Perspective. Nora Lynn Schneider, the Centennial American Jewish Weekly coverage in Chicago of Nazi persecution of European Jewry in the Holocaust, 1930 to 1947. Michael Lester Scully, the digital incognita of the future of storytelling in the digital age. Donald Joseph Thieme II, The Nation-State of Biopower, Impacts of Individuals, Empowerment, and Limitations of Liberty. Gary Vaspol, Abiding the Postmodern World of Ethical, Existential, and Cinematographic Examination of the Big Lebowski. Will the marshals please escort the Master of Arts degree candidates, graduates to the stage? Christina Marie Batista. Adil Mahadfud Salami Analmi. Mui Abdallah Ahmad Al-Guwan. Jacqueline Marie Ali. Jessica Patrice Dorsey Coulter. Tiara Schaefer Cup. Alyssa Donier. Erin Jean Mancini Gear. Jennifer Lynn Forget. Leah Teresa Gambardella. Yana Grigorieva. Cindy M. Gonzalez. Tatsuya Higagashiwa. Kelly Cabral Hagerstrom. Alexander James Hogland. Danilyn Holdridge. Elizabeth Kelly Jenick. Abraham Ernesto Jorge Batista. Allison Bethany Canonian. Samantha Knight. Deborah Leander. Christina Lindsay. Juliette Longval. Susan McCormick. Amira Nelson. Brooke Ashley O'Gara. Jessica Lynn Plant. Daniel Placencia Naveda. Taylor Kathleen Ricker. Manuel Antonio Rubio. Jamel Siemens Robles. Juan Carlos Romay. Melissa Carla Rouskathen. Tracy Louise Folan Skirka. Tobias Soderlumplam. Christina Souza. Will the marshals please escort the Master of Science degree students to the stage? Bander Matik Eliazi. Greg Robert Angarella. Nicholas John Bates. Allison Taylor Betancourt. Belinda Betancourt. Catherine Billings. Kimberly Bissell. Anthony William Brennan. Alexandra Joy Broder. Kelsey Ann Brown. Alyssa Lynn Bruno. Vernon Albert Eldon Burnett. Christopher William Karan. Susan Elizabeth Carson. Stacy Carter. Ingrid Daniela Castro. John Paul Sarah. Jamie Lynn Claro. Mary Helen Chaplin. Jillian Clifford. Alfred Arthur Cook III. Rachel Suzanne Correa. Danielle Crowell. Alexandra Dean Curtis. Michael Cujo. Anna Marie Hripsimi Denyan. Tiffany Elise Davila. Margaret Dunphy. Mark Anthony Fenella. Melissa Gossett. Lindsay Joy Heckman. Kevin James Johnson II. Ruth Joseph. Lusenga Bazel Lusenga. Alyssa Grace Lyons. Jessica Lynn Mayshell. Michael Marshall. Matthew Mascari. David Patrick Mavila. Nicole Ann McGovern. Alyssa Ray Medeiros. Diane Medeiros. Vincent James Monty. Rachel Norris. Michaela Elizabeth Perry. Jonathan Curanto. Elizabeth Rigby. Angelo Scuderi. Giuliana Francesca Sinonato. Alberto Sormini. Benjamin Ross Teschner. Eric Torres. Bruno Ventura. Robert Salvatore Volley. Nancy Neach Westcott. Feikima Alderoque Agabula. Will the marshals please escort the Master of Business Administration degrees to the stage? Allison Teresa Abgrab. Michael Amante. Emily Ying Barkin. Jared Barrows. John David Cabral. Paula Carvalho. Alexandra Patrick Devine. Audrey Lynn Ducart. Alexa Nicole Finella. Joseph Vincent Farrar. Sherry Lynn Feld. Nicolette Ann Fernandez. Hannah Ryan Fawcett. Regine Severe. Heather Marie Higgins. Alberto Guerrero. Vanessa Ann Eiton. Tara Ann Coleman. Brian Martins. Francis Cameron Limel. Courtney Phelps McMorrow. Aaron Amilcar Cabral Mateos. Elise Renee Nasser. Zachary Joseph Misich. Christopher Manuel Nova. Allison Margaret Pagani. Ariana Ferreira Papalo. Sydney Ann Robinson. Peter Francis Rocha. Gina Marie Tononi. Brandon Kent Van Vlack. Angela Williams. Angel Lindems. Brittany Marie Withers. Joseph Eden. I am now pleased to commend today's graduates to Dr. Gerald Willis, Director of Alumni and Parent Programs, who will receive the class of 2018 into the Salve Regina Alumni Association.
All members of the class of 2018, please stand. Will all other graduates of Salve Regina University here present also stand to bear witness to the transition of the class of 2018 into the Salve Regina University Alumni Association. I welcome you now as you officially become members of Salve Regina's Alliance of Alumni, who will always be united with this university and each other by shared experiences and by friendship with one another. You join those who aspire to live by the ideals of Salve Regina and to carry on its mission. You are warmly welcomed to the ranks of Salve Regina graduates. Congratulations.
This concludes our graduate commencement exercises. Will you please all stand as the President, the Chair of the Board of Trustees, platform guests, the faculty, and the graduates process out of the tent. The families and guests of the graduates are asked to please remain in their places until the entire procession has left the tent. We invite you all to join us for a brief reception in the Great Hall of Ochre Court.